The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1 800 799 7233 for support.
Happy Dating Detectives Monday!
Hello. We had a fun weekend. You had a Barbie convention. I had self-defense.
But I'm so proud of you, Hannah. I love that you're doing these self-defense classes. It's called Don't Get Killed Club, and Hannah has done an amazing job of creating this space where she's making self-defense normal and cool and encouraging you just do it. Like it doesn't have to be like,
You don't have to be a boxer. You can just
yeah,
learn the
like
basics. But we do need to practice.
I'm
And
literally just a girl.
yeah, we just gotta practice. But I'm excited. I mean, we'll do these announcements, then we'll get to the episode. Crime Con in Vegas will be there. Speaking of other conventions. So that's the end of May. And if you want to come hang out with us, and also if you're a true crime person, like you gotta go. Like it's
It's the
everybody.
last weekend in May. It's in Vegas at the Caesar's Palace?
I think so.
And it's going to be so much fun. We're going to be there with a booth and we have some fun surprises for you. So please come and see us. It's going to be so cool.
Yay! And that's that. Patreon also. Join Patreon. We love Patreon. I'm sorry, I'm flying through these announcements without grace. But you guys get it by now.
Let's get into it. I want you guys to meet Sydnee.
Our guest is awesome. She's such a badass mom. We're going to talk about a lot. I mean, definitely some abuse comes up and mental health, some things, and she talks about some childhood trauma, but in general, I mean, let's just say this dogfish was the nice guy.
Or maybe he might be a jellyfish. We don't know.
We don't know. You have to listen to the end to understand what we mean by that. But you're going to be annoyed because I was annoyed because at the beginning, it really sounds like a nice story.
And then you know it's not. And then you're like, what's coming up?
She's very inspiring. Like she's really awesome. So I can't wait
You're
for you to
gonna
hear our whole
love
conversation.
her. Yes, for sure. You're going to love her.
Anything else we need to tell them before we get into it?
No, I think that's it. Let's meet her. So we have Sydnee. Sydnee, we love having you here. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Will you please take us on your journey?
Absolutely. I grew up in a home that was a little bit chaotic. There was addiction in the home, but it was also another side that was very normal. So I felt like my whole life I was kind of balancing that reality. And as I grew up, I became very independent. I was working a job in an HR role, but it was really a warehouse type environment. So it was tons of men. I was one of two women there. They kind of were like my big brothers. It felt very comfortable. And I just felt very safe in that environment. It was very relaxed. And I just knew I was surrounded by good people. They were in kind of like a rougher industry, but they were truly just like great men that I could go to if I was scared or needed something. So I was living downtown in a really neat area, kind of like lots of young nightlife. I owned my own home, really felt like I was kind of killing it. I was in my mid 20s. Yeah. And I had just like a really active social life, was super independent and enjoyed my independence. I never really felt lonely and I loved where I was. So I was actually a victim of a home invasion when I owned that home.
God, that must have been so scary.
What happened?
So I was on the first floor of my house and I heard a noise upstairs, but again, it was a downtown area, so I didn't really think much of it. Someone actually broke in from the balcony of my second level and hid in my bedroom.
Oh my God.
True story. Yeah. So as I went upstairs a couple hours later, at the top of the steps, there was a man standing there and I screamed at the top of my lungs. I had my cell phone in my hand. It was a flip phone at the time, and I happened to be on the phone. He broke my phone in half.
Oh my gosh.
He turned me around and put his knee in my back and his hands around my neck, and he kneed me to the ground. And then he pushed me down the steps and it was brick on each side because it was like a row home. So I went into the brick and he put me in the bathroom, took his belt off and put it around the outside of the door. And I heard the blinds on my front door shake. And so I knew that he was gone. And I basically had to sit in there forever or come out. Like I couldn't just stay there, right? But I had no phone.
Oh
I had no
my
one living
God.
with me.
Oh my
And
God,
so
Sydney.
I ran out the front of my home, and in the road a couple houses down, there was a man standing there, and I was in my nightgown, and I ran down and I grabbed his phone and I called 911. So when that happened, my whole world was rocked. And there were detectives there all night. And instantly I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay because the shock. So I went into work. I still am like, I went into work the next day and I was in my office and I literally walked into the middle of the warehouse and I was like, I need a roommate.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to live alone and I need a
Oh,
roommate. My house was 2 bedroom and I was very independent, so no one was going to push me out of my house. I was certain of that. I was going to stay
yeah.
there, like come hell or high water. And there was a guy who hadn't worked there that long. And he was like, actually, yeah, I can't stand where I live and I could totally move in. I'm like, when do you want to come? Let's go. So he's preparing to move in my house. And I suddenly realized I can't stay in my house. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And so
I
Yeah.
I'm
bet you
like,
couldn't. Oh my gosh.
right? So I rented my home out. Like I got a tenant and then I rented another house the next neighborhood over. So this guy from my work moved in there. 2 separate bedrooms. We lived 2 very different lives. And I was angry that my independence was lost. But I
Mhm.
also
I can
felt
imagine that.
like that really pissed me off because suddenly something was taken from me, you know? Anyway, this guy was like 130 pounds more than me and over a foot taller. I was safe. And like,
Yeah.
I dare somebody to screw with him, right? Because,
Yeah,
like,
he'll kick their ass.
amen. He was super calm, super collected, but there was something about him that it was like, if someone screws with me, I'm not really worried right now because he'll just take him out. And like, I knew he was background checked because he worked in
Knew
my,
the
like, I
job.
knew the process, right?
Right.
I was an HR person. So
But you didn't know him super well. You said he was newer to the company.
it was new. And that was kind of great that I didn't know him because like there was
Right.
no drama. And we lived
Right.
very different lives. We didn't do meals together. We didn't do roommate things. Like he did his life, I did my life. So I had the
Perfect.
safety and security of like a big giant guy there.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but he didn't want to be in my business. And frankly, I had a pretty active social life. Like I was out way too much. I drank way too much. And thank the good Lord, I'm here because I did not always make good decisions, you know? And so there were nights that like, if I came home and I was not in the best state, he would literally make sure I got to my room and shut the door and leave. There was never a bound.
Aw.
Right. It was so wonderful.
Listen to
So,
us. Oh.
aw,
It is sad because it's like this should be bare minimum. We shouldn't be so impressed, but it is nice.
exactly. But when you grow up really not expecting men to be that way,
Which I think a lot of us do, sadly.
yeah. And so I went from being angry that my independence was gone, but then feeling like, oh, wow, this dude knows that I'm not going to deal with anything. And
Mhm.
I was pretty tough in my own right. And so, like, I dare you to cross a line, but I never had to worry about that.
I mean, you were also his HR.
Right. I know, which honestly, I did ask if that was okay. Right.
Yeah.
But it was almost like he was completely disinterested. Like he couldn't be bothered. He didn't care. He was his,
You were just glad he was there in his size.
that's it. That's exactly it. So someone else saw
Yeah.
a big man going in and out of my home because the first time they think the person that jumped me stalked me because my car was parked 3 blocks away and he stole my car. So they were like, we knew. So to me, I'm like, I've got a big guy going in and out of my house now.
Mhm.
Totally fine.
He stole your car. Oh my
Stole my
God.
car that was 3 blocks away. Yeah.
I am reminded on this show constantly how important it is for people, especially women, to be in control of their finances. It makes us safer, it gives us freedom. And one way to do that is to make sure your credit is in check. And Ava is a credit building app that's really, really helpful for that. Basically, it's designed to work really fast and help your credit score where it really matters. So your credit score can start climbing with almost no effort. Instead of a secured card that locks up a deposit and takes weeks, Ava can approve you in 5 minutes,
with up to $2,500 credit limit and no credit check. Ava members improve their scores by an average of 30 points in 30 days. It can report rent, utility, phone bills automatically, even up to 24 months of past payments, so that your everyday payments help build your credit faster. That's how it works. And it's all included in your Ava membership. So if credit is something that you haven't been paying as much attention to, especially if you want it to climb fast, which who doesn't, Ava is an amazing option. Ava has over 2 million downloads and is the highest rated credit building app on Trustpilot with the most 5-star reviews. We love 5-star reviews. So take control of your credit today. Download the Ava app, AVA, and when you join using our promo code DATING20, you'll get 20% off your first year, monthly or annual, your choice. Again, grab the Ava app and use our promo code DATING20 so they know that you heard it from us, and you'll get 20% off any plan for up to a year. That's promo code DATING20. Thanks to Ava. Now go get yourself good credit.
So I felt safe, but we didn't really engage. And we lived very separate lives, never crossed a boundary, never made advances, never flirted. And he would on occasion just be like, I don't think that guy you went out with tonight was like a good guy. Like, I just want to let you know. And he was right, usually, and he was consistent. He was respectful. He was predictable. He totally accepted me for whatever. I didn't feel like I had to be anything other than I was. Very easy conversation, very protected. And so one night I'm in my bedroom and he's in his bedroom. And this was like forever ago when we had Match.com. And I get a wink and it's from him.
Oh my gosh. This is such a
Wait, and he knew it was you. Okay.
It's a romance novel.
Right? So I get this little wink and I immediately I'm like, dumbass. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, right? But then it was kind of cute. And so we messaged back and forth a couple times. And then he asked to take me out to dinner.
Were you like, this is weird, or had you thought about him like this
I
at
had
all?
not thought about him like that at all.
And he had never seemed to have thought about you like that either.
Zero. And so when we messaged back and forth a little, it was just kind of like almost nice, cordial conversation rather than like, hey, lock the door on your way out. You're just like people meeting each other in a different way, So we went out to dinner. And I remember sitting across from him at dinner being like, what is happening right now?
So y'all set this up on the app instead of just going to his bedroom being like, "Hey, you
wanna
wanna
go
do
to
it
dinner?"
this way?" Like,
Did you guys
yeah.
acknowledge it in the rooms at all?
Negative.
Wait, that's so funny. You were like,
So you
two
guys were
different
just living
roles.
your own life under the same roof, doing your own thing, but talking online to each other as if you didn't live together.
Yeah.
Did he
That's
like get
interesting,
dressed
okay.
for the date, go outside, and then knock on the door again? Like, I'm imagining all of that.
It was
I love
like,
that.
do you want to go to dinner like tomorrow? Like it was like 2 days later. But in between those 2 days, we just lived our normal life because I wasn't really thinking much of it. And I was just like, oh, this is cute. This is playful. This is funny.
Playful, yes.
And it was like, he's not going to cross
Definitely.
any boundaries. I still wasn't worried about it. If the date didn't go well, who cared? He
Yeah.
didn't give a crap about anything. Like he was just so chill that I'm like, okay, sure, this will be fun. Well, when we went out, like I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get married. Like I was very independent. And he looked at me and he was like, well, that's really a shame because like you deserve someone to love you. I was
That's a
like,
good
that's
line.
kind right.
That's
And
a
I'm
good
like,
line.
that's kind of nice to hear. And so I started to see this different side of him. And I was like, he really does have a tender heart because he was saying things like some of them were lines, but some of them there was like a vulnerability in him coming
Yes.
out. So everything progressed very respectfully. When we kind of like were barely dating, I actually got sick with a stomach ulcer and I was in the bathroom one night and I'm throwing up and I panicked because I think I'm throwing up blood. It was red jello. Anyway,
Oh,
true
no.
story. But I was like, oh my God, I'm throwing up blood. And I called him in because I'm like, something gonna die. And he came in and he like didn't make fun of me. Like he kind of, he was like, oh, I think you're okay. Like, I think it's right. But
Oh,
I look
that's
back and I'm like,
nice.
that was totally a moment when anyway, when we were dating, if I went to bed at night, he would sit outside of my bedroom door and talk to me.
Wait,
Never,
what?
never crossed a line.
Oh,
Ever. So, like,
okay.
he would sit on the floor outside of my room and my door would be open and I'd be in bed and we would, like, talk like that, and then he would tell me good night and go to bed.
Okay.
Totally
Wow.
respectful, totally calm.
What's going through your head as this develops?
I just was kind of like,
I like
it's
it.
really nice that he's not all that. He wasn't out to get something. It seemed very like if it worked, it worked. And if it didn't, it didn't. I felt no pressure. And I genuinely was like, I think I kind of dig him. Like, I remember the first time he held my hand being like, I'm holding his hand. Like, how do I feel about that? Oh, I think that feels good.
Oh,
Like it was
that's
stuff
so
like that.
cool.
It was just very easy and very comfortable. So fast forward, we get engaged like a year and a half.
Wait. No, don't fast forward that fast.
Yeah. Like we dated, everything was normal and fine. There were zero flags. There were zero flags. Zero
And you
flags.
like fall in love. When does he
Uh-huh.
come? Like he comes into the bedroom eventually. Like, are you
Yeah,
guys
when y'all
like,
start? Yeah.
Yes. Like
you don't have to tell us everything, but
obviously, like
Mhm.
everything progresses. Everything gets more physical. We start talking about later in life. We start talking about things. And so he proposes and we get engaged. And
and
we're
you're
like,
still working together and living together.
yeah.
'Cause that's a lot.
Actually, at that point, I had left the company and I was working somewhere else.
Okay.
Were you surprised at the progression knowing that was there ever a time when you were like, "Well, this was bound to happen," or was it all just a surprise?
I think I just felt very even.
Okay, so you just felt good about it, though, like there was
I
never
just
any.
felt solid. Like I never grew
Good.
up feeling solid, right?
Mhm.
And I always grew up with like this hostility. Things were high, things were low, things were this.
Yes.
And I mean, with him,
Yeah.
there was no anything. He didn't care if I went out with friends. He didn't care if I stayed home and read a book. He read a lot.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he
That's
was just,
nice.
A
he was
balance to you.
It was
Yeah.
so balanced. But there was this edge to him that was also kind of hot. And that was fun. And so I felt no pressure. It was almost like, like the hard guy that's always going to protect you, but he
Yeah.
didn't have the big ego that went with it. He
Ugh.
seriously didn't give a shit if people liked him. And I loved that. My mom actually at one point called him the gentle giant.
I was gonna
Aw.
ask you, what did family think of him? What did your friends think of him?
I mean, my best friend was like, this is the greatest thing ever. My family didn't really, I think some of them felt like she can do better. I think some of them thought I could have had a more professional, whatever. But anybody I knew, like, I did not care. I did not want the guy at the party that needed people to like
Yeah.
him. I didn't give a shit.
Mm.
I just wanted peace. It was so easy. And we talked about politics. We just talked. Sometimes we just talk and talk and talk. So for me, it wasn't all of the wonderful butterflies. It was a very peaceful calm.
Oh,
And I didn't have to be anything for anyone else other than me. So we get married, and about 6 months later, I get pregnant. That was intended. And a little after, like, basically, they were like, wait 6 months and then you can get pregnant again because I had a C section. And so right away, I got pregnant again. And this was planned. Like, wanted to
easy.
be a mom. He knew I'd be a great mom. And I was like, let's have babies.
And
And
you
we
guys still continued to get along well, and he was still the protector and
zero fights, zero
Wow.
good.
arguments,
Okay, wow.
zero tension. It was so easy. It was so easy. And when we got married at our wedding, he bawled his eyes out. Like, I mean,
Aw.
bawled his eyes out was coming down the aisle. And so I started to see real emotion in him that I hadn't seen. And I was like, he loves me. And at one point, his dad actually came to me and was like, if he doesn't marry you, he's never going to get married. Like, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Like
Yeah.
there's no one that's better. And I felt like he was really just right for me. There was an ease. He listened when I talked. And so it was just very good. It was very easy. We had the babies. So
So you have
have a
2 babies
girls.
now.
Yep. And I'm staying at home. So he's going to work. I'm staying home. And I just felt very rooted in my faith and my family life. I absolutely took on everything that it was to be a mom and a homemaker. And I was so grateful. Like, I didn't care. People thought I was crazy. I was me and he supported me. But he was traveling a lot.
Mhm.
And I started to feel like that wasn't what our family was supposed to be. Like, I wanted this little bubble.
Ooh, yep.
Like, I missed him. And so I was like, I think you need to consider a different company, same industry. It was very niche and he became really respected in that. And so we had a couple different states of options and we ended up choosing the Midwest. And so we
Mhm.
moved to the Midwest and I was very grounded, very happy. He came in the door at night. There was dinner on the table. We did the kid thing. I was like
Mhm.
the neighborhood mom. Everybody would drop their kids off.
Oh, I love that.
And it was
I do
really great.
too.
And I also didn't have a support system, so, like, there were no babysitters, but we didn't really care about going out that much. That's not what we did. We just kind of wanted to be together and do the normal things. So, we really built this life of home, and I loved our home, and I loved our life. I met friends, so I had friends at church, and they would do things, like go to barbecues and, like, go and so we would get invited, and he would never go, and he would just be like, I just get really anxious socially. I'm just
Hmm.
not comfortable around people. And so I thought, like, well, he's always been really quiet. He'd be like, I don't like small talk. Like, I just don't, there's nothing wrong with them, but like, I don't really need to know them. That's for
And
you.
you guys had never been in a situation where you were around other folks before? Like this is new?
Developing a friend base and getting to go out. I mean, I think were socially before just because we lived in a downtown area that was social. But as far as like developing friendships, you meet those couples and you become friends.
Gotcha.
As that
Yeah.
started building, he started saying, this isn't for me. And so I was like, hmm, okay. So we had two girls, and as they were getting older, like 4 and 5, he really started to become depressed.
Ooh.
Oh.
And so I'm like, what's going on? And I just said one day, did something happen in your childhood? Like, was there something growing up? And he says, yes. And he tells me trauma
Oh,
that
no.
no one should have had to endure.
Hmm.
Oh.
And it was like instantly I knew it was bad. He didn't even say everything, but like I saw a pain in him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he was my husband.
Mhm.
And I wanted to help him heal. So I learned everything possible I could about trauma in men.
Oh.
Everything. I read the books. I talked to people. I was just like, we're going to deal with this.
And I
And
got you. You're going to be there for
Yeah,
me.
like, you're my
yes,
partner, we're in this together.
you don't need to be the strong one anymore. I've got us.
Hmm.
You had me when I was in a hard time. I've got you now. I don't care if you cry. I don't care if you break down. I don't care what you need to do. I've got us. We're going to get through this.
Oh.
But his depression starts to spiral. And one day I get a text message from him, and I just knew he was going to take his life.
Oh,
No.
Sydney.
And so I drove him to a mental health facility. Like, I went home and I was like, you need to get in the car. I dropped the kids off with a neighbor and I drove him in for an evaluation, and they immediately admitted him. He didn't really want to go, but he knew he had to go. It was almost like, well, damn, I didn't kill myself. I guess this is what I have to do. Right. It
Yeah,
wasn't like I
yeah.
want help. But when we got there, they admitted him right away. And I don't know if you've ever kind of been through this, but they like take your shoelaces, like all of those, and you have to give them to the person that. So he gives me all of his things. And one of them was his iPad. And he paid all of our bills. Like, when I tell you it was seriously living like 1950, it was. And I was like, oh, I've got to do the things that I used to do when I was independent. Like, here we go, back in this role. So I go home. I knew he was going to be there, but I didn't know how long. And a few days later, I log into his iPad with information he gave me to pay our bills. And there's an email account that I don't recognize. So I'm like, what in the world is this? So then I start seeing, this was back in Craigslist time, ads where he's soliciting women.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No.
What did they say?
I mean, like, people that were advertising that they were sex workers, and he was messaging them to meet up. And so I'm like, oh God, I think he's living this double life.
Oh my
So
god.
I go down the street and I take the girls to my neighbor's house, and I come home and I completely collapse on my kitchen floor,
Yeah.
like complete disorientation, total emotional shock. I'm thinking to myself, I picked the boring one. I picked the one that didn't care about picking up women. I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, yeah.
You lived
So
with him from day one. Like you would have seen, it seems like.
correct.
You would
I lived
think.
with him. I worked with him. And when travel came at work, the guys that he traveled with, again, they were like my brothers. None of them one of them would have come to me and been like, just so you know, he ain't being loyal.
Totally.
There was none of that.
Ah,
There was none of that.
so who is this guy?
Right.
I'm a broken record when I talk about how important it is for women, all people, but especially women, to be on top of their finances. Gives you autonomy and freedom, but it's really hard to actually get there. I think I often will feel motivated to get my money in check, but then the actual practice is not as fun as it feels. It's like you want it to just happen overnight, but really it's a long process. And that's why I use an app called Monarch. It's an all in one personal finance tool designed to just make your life easier. So it brings all of my finances, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, future planning. It's all in one dashboard. You can go on your phone or your laptop. And I just feel so much more aware and in control of what's going on with my money. And I feel like I'm doing a lot less like doggy paddling and a lot more planning, if that makes sense. And unlike most other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to make you proactive, not just reactive. So set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code dating detectives at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code dating detectives.
So I called the hospital that he was at and I said, I need to talk to his nurse. And I tell them, I just found this. And I know trauma can bring behaviors and I don't know what to do. And she was pretty much like, this isn't because of that, honey. Like, this is not, people come in here for other traumas and they don't go and cheat on their wives, just so you know.
Ooh,
Like, she was real straight with me. But I'm like, this isn't who he is. So she goes, how about we set a room up here and you can come and confront him here and we will have 2 people by the door. And this would be a safe place for you to confront him. Whatever he reacts, you don't have to worry about. You can walk away when you want to. And it was safe. So
Wow.
I went up and I sat at a table across from him and I confronted him. He was somewhat unfazed and he was just like, I know it's wrong, but it's all online. This is just some fantasy life that I live. This isn't anything I've actually done. But I'm sorry and I know it's wrong and I won't anymore. And he's like, I never met up with anyone. I never like because in the manner of which he was so unfazed, it was almost like it wasn't even like, oh, I caught him.
Yeah.
Right? It was like
It
not a
was like,
big
he's not freaking out, so why should I?
yeah.
Mm.
So he apologized. He said that wouldn't happen again. I'm like, okay, maybe again, he isn't that guy. Maybe he's not cheating on me. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay. We're going to fix this relationship. Again, I like learn about trauma, learn about addiction, learn about recovery. I'm talking to his therapist, meeting with his therapist. We have a marriage counselor. I'm talking to support people at church. So this pattern kind of forms like I discover something, I confront him. There's a little bit of improvement, which wasn't really. He would just set up another account somewhere else.
And this is the same thing you're discovering or other
Relapse.
things?
Same thing. It's all around this same kind of behavior,
A
soliciting other
dating
women.
app, a Craigslist solicitation. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't like, let me get to know you. It was not, it was hookup sites.
Wow.
How much are you reading of these? Are you just you see it, you throw the phone, you don't even want to look, or
No, I
are
read.
you
There
digesting it?
was a whole lot of exchange. You know what I mean? Like if someone posted an ad on Craigslist that they were available for something and he emailed them and then they replied back, that would be it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if after the email he would switch to his phone. Like, I don't know. But
Ah,
I read what I could. And I noticed during each phase of discovery, there was never an offering of information. So if everything you find out, you know, there's always more. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if everything I
Yes.
know I've caught, let's not be done.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I would take it all to his therapist. I would be like, hey, here's what's happening now. Like I wasn't in La La Land. I was dealing with it. And this counselor that was working with us, she was like, okay, let's learn how to get through this if we're going to. And I honestly, like my friends are still like, you need to be a PI. I basically learned everything. I mean, I was a pretty good detective a long time
mhm.
ago, considering it wasn't, and this was not my thing, but I never had to like hack anything. Like I would be like, oh, he uses this device and I have access to this device. And so like, right? So,
It's just research.
or hey, I'll make up an account and he won't know it's me. And I'll kind of
Oh.
You
So-
are FBI.
I just started finding what I needed to find to the point where when he denied something, I could be like, actually, no, that's a lie. And I was trying to figure out how much he was really lying.
Yeah.
So it was, we're talking to this marriage therapist, and it's like, I mean, he could have left me. He didn't. And he was so unfazed by he did not react the way a normal guy would. He wasn't outraged. He wasn't trying to get me back. He was just like, I know it's a problem. Like it's not serious. Like I'm trying anyway. So there's this thing of like, he's always been a little different, and maybe there's something else going on mentally or whatever. So maybe he should go get evaluations. Maybe there is something. So we find out he's on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
He was super bright. He was very smart and quirky, but it explained his lack of social engagement. Like a lot of things started to become explained. So suddenly his behavior is not like, oh, I'm chasing after these things. These are compulsions. These are special interests.
Nope. Autistic people are not just going to cheat. We know that now. But I mean, I was going to ask if he was also playing into his depression in terms of his reaction to everything.
No, he never really used that.
Didn't?
And it was that was part of why. I mean, when I tell you he had good therapists fooled, he had good therapists fooled. He really did. So I either have, I can look at like the medical documentation in front of me that says like he has this and deal with this and learn this, or I can be like, oh, it's like a bunch of crap and I'm not. But it was there in my face. And so I'm like, I have an obligation to learn about what this means. This is how it felt. At one point, I was a caretaker for a sick man. That's what I described it as. At one point, I resigned myself to like, I have this mentally ill husband. This is my life. I am a caretaker to a sick man. And I just accepted that. And so I grieved a romantic partner. And I mean, if he had cancer, I wouldn't leave. I actually said that to a friend. If he had cancer, I wouldn't leave. So we bring this to the marriage counselor, and she starts talking about a neurotypical and a neurodiverse couple and what it means and how his behavior is wrong. But this unhealthy behavior developed over time. He's now kind of gone to this thing, and it's breaking patterns and it's breaking habits. And so I'm trying to adapt and stabilize the family. He's now on other medication for depression. He's like, I want to talk to some of my family members about this trauma. He begins like, he's going to like confess things. I'm like, we're moving. Okay, we're moving. This is moving. So I'm doing the work. And I mean, when his behavior would be off, I knew to snoop. And so I found out this was not a new thing. This was something that had been going on before me.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you find that out?
Because I started going back through old messages of his from his accounts that he had given me the passwords to.
Okay, so this is something he just does.
He's stupid. Uh-huh.
That's interesting because I wonder if doing it for so long almost makes him feel like it's not something, it's like compartmentalized.
100%. That's yeah, you'll hear it. It's kind of crazy. So so like as it would be like, oh, his behavior stopped, but he spent a whole lot of time out in the yard or whatever. Well, what is he doing out there the whole time? You know what I mean? And so one day I just looked in his bag from work and I found another phone. Like
what the hell?
And how long is this period from when he?
So
when
this
you
is going on probably like a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And so one day I went to him and I was just like, I need to know. I need you to tell me if you have ever been with these women. Because at this point, I have no proof that there was anything physical.
The emails only stated that there was an interaction, not what the interaction was.
There was never a post. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, right. So I had no proof that he.
But were they ever saying like, I want to meet up with you on this day?
Yes, but then there was nothing after it. So it would seem like it, but I didn't have proof. And I'm not going to fight something that someone can fight back. I'm not going to go to it until I know.
Yeah, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight. Like you got to have all your shit together.
And I knew he had he was just going to answer me the way he wanted to. It wasn't like there was any conviction in him.
So even confronting him wouldn't give you the answers. If he wants to say no, you need proof.
Correct. So we played this game for a while until I was like, I think he's just kind of full of shit. And so there's these websites that are kind of like Yelp, but not for like a Chinese restaurant.
It's people leaving reviews for sex workers?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
What?
I did not know that existed.
It exists.
Oh my gosh.
And so I see his reviews and I start freaking out.
Wait, his
Because
reviews of them?
uh-huh.
How many reviews had he left?
How many reviews?
So I found 5 or 6 the first time.
Ew.
And here was the kicker. It would sometimes say like, "Oh, I was here. I met with her on Friday afternoon," or whatever. And so I would go back and look and be like, "Oh, that day he wasn't at his office." And he did travel a little bit, so I would see the cities he was in, and I'd be like, "Oh shit, that really happened," because that's
Oh,
why he left a
no.
day early. So I started realizing his 3-day trips were really 5-day trips, which is why no one at work ever knew he was doing this because he left a day before and a day after. Because so
Mm.
the extent to which this was going on. So then I peeled the layers back more, and I was literally looking at the calendar. What city was he at? What city can I look for a review in, right? It's sort of like when you go on Groupon and you can look by city. So like
Yeah.
I would start looking at geographic areas at certain times. And yes, like when I was pregnant with one of our kids from
No.
6, 7
Stop
years
it.
before. Mhm. Yes.
So what kept you from getting up and taking the girls and walking out the door? Because
I
was it
had no
that's
support. I
yeah.
had
You didn't
no
have a
job.
job.
I had no family there.
Oh God.
Yep, and people don't remember that it's not as easy as up and out.
All I knew was
Oh.
that my girls could never be with him. And I was not in a place where I could say, I can handle them by myself. And I didn't have people there. So I just stayed very even. That's all I can tell you. I just was like, if I'm doing this, I'm not going to be crazy. I'm not going to let this consume me. I'm not like, I'm going to deal with this. So I would print out all of his crap and then I would keep it in a little folder and I would go to him. And so one day I sat down across the dining room table and I said, I need you to tell me if you've ever touched anyone. Like, I need to know what happened. Now I knew at the time, but now I was playing his game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he looked at me as calm as could be. And he's like, I don't know why you're still asking this. I have told you it's all online, blah, blah, blah. So I whip out my folder and I'm like, bam,
She got receipts.
Receipts,
I got receipts.
timelines.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Screenshots.
game over. Now he's going to like be mad. He didn't give a shit. He felt no emotion. He didn't care.
There was no reaction. He was just like,
I mean, he was
okay.
kind of like, well, I mean, okay, why'd you even ask me?
And how did you feel hearing that? Did you want him to get angry? I would.
I don't know that I wanted him to get angry. I think I wanted him to realize the ball was in my court.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so what I said is, I'm not going to ask you anything going forward, but know that I'm not done looking. And so if you're going to do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. And I'm not afraid, and I'm going to get it all.
Oh my God.
That's when things started to get a little ugly. We're
Oh.
now in COVID.
Oh no.
It's
And-
real hard to hide addictions in COVID. So then you
Oh,
start to
man.
see, holy crap, the whole thing I thought was fine is really, he just didn't care. Because
Yeah.
who can look at their wife in the face when she's telling you, I was literally like, I will not be okay if I don't know what happened. If you tell me what happened, I can do this. But like, I will not be okay if you don't tell me. I need you to tell me. Lied. I pulled it out. He could have given 2 craps.
He didn't
Wow.
care.
It was like, I mean, why did you even ask?
That hurts.
Because he genuinely felt like the right thing to do was to lie, but then he didn't care. But then when you said, I have proof, he's like, okay, fine.
I'm not sure
I'm
if
gonna
he's
tell ya.
thinking about right and wrong. I have a feeling he's not empathizing at all.
That's so funny that you say that, because when we were at the table that day and I pulled it out and I was like, I don't know how you can do this. He was like, just because I do something you don't like, it doesn't make it bad. There's good and bad and right and wrong. And like, you have your morals and you have your values, but they don't have to be the ones I live by. And I'm like, well, actually, if you married me, they do.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of the whole thing with the vows and the signing of the paper.
And he
That
knew
one,
me.
yeah.
Like, he knew this is not something I would have been okay with. And so I asked him, like, why did you marry me? And I really meant that. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to. I wasn't pregnant. Why did you do this if you knew I would never be okay with it? And he was so calm. And he goes, it had nothing to do with you. You were never supposed to find out.
What?
Literally was like, I didn't do anything to you. What I did with someone else has nothing to do with you. Our marriage was great until you found out.
So it's your fault.
We didn't fight. Everything was fine. This didn't impact our marriage. You not liking it impacts our marriage. But just because you don't like something, it doesn't make it wrong. And now I'm in this whole crazy shitstorm of mental that I'm like, what am I dealing with?
That
Yeah.
would, yeah, no, that would really mess with me
That's
because
not like a normal response.
Correct. It is not. It is
no.
not a normal response. And that's what began coming up in therapy. Like I would say that. I was like, I'm actually starting to get a little afraid. This
That's
is
not
creepy.
normal.
Like who lets someone live their life knowing they're living a total other life? Like, why did he think this was okay? He's like, I mean, this is I've been doing this for decades. It's not about you. This is just what I do.
So you said you'd done a lot of research and you're in therapy, and we're not therapists, and sometimes diagnoses aren't like necessary or even helpful. But I'm curious, at this point, were you like looking at the
He's a sociopath.
antisocial?
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
like, he's a yeah. At this point, I
you
was like, I
think?
think he's a sociopath. Like now now we're in a different level. But again, we're also in
Mhm.
COVID.
And you're stuck together.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
It's not a good time to start COVID with. I just found out my husband of 7 years, 8 years. How long had it been at that point? Is a
Yeah, I mean,
socio
like 7 years. Yeah.
cool. Cool, cool,
So
cool, cool,
Wow.
so
cool.
I'm
Love that
stuck.
for you.
Right. It was terrifying because it was very creepy because it's like, how did I share a bed with someone that it was very scary because you don't know what someone's capable of when you realize they're capable of that.
Yes.
Because there was no red flags. He intentionally built two separate lives. And it was like, I never saw porn on anything with him. I never saw it, like,
Any
right,
indication of what he would do.
any indication. And that was intentional because he had to go to great lengths to hide it. There were no red flags. Like when I tell you he was not the charmer, he was not. He was not out to like get women's attention, get women's phone numbers. There was no thing.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh, well, yeah, this is a player. Oh no, he was not a player. He was not a player. I mean, I think it was just like, how is this my life? What is going on? Right? Like, what is happening in my life? So like he starts getting angry. Now the temper comes out. Like one day he threw something across the room. When you throw something across the room when you're that big, it's kind of creepy, right? It's like a
Oh
different
my
level.
God.
And one day I confronted him, and instead of saying anything back, like now he's pissed. Now he's pissed because this has nothing to do with you. This is not your business. Shut the hell
Mhm.
up. This is my life. Leave me
Mhm.
alone. What are you going to do about it? Like that's what I was now dealing with. And so I'd be like, I'm not going to take this. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? Right. You have no job. You have no family here. And at this point, I was actually in college. Like I went back to college. I was in college online and I was getting another degree and doing
You're
things. 'Cause
amazing.
I had a life before him. You know what I mean? I was successful before him. And so I knew I was living right and I was taking steps, but like my little part-time 10-hour a week gig was not enough. So literally to him, it was like, what are you going to do? Okay, you don't like it. What are you going to do? At one point, he was like, if you would just shut the hell up, everything would be fine. This is a problem because you have a problem.
This is kind of archaic.
And I have this moment when talking to the counselor who began using the word abuse, and she was these things. And I went, oh my God, like, wait, first he moved me away. Then he became a stay-at-home mom. And all of these things were looking like they were for me. I want to be home more. I don't want to travel as much. I want you to be able to take care of the kids.
Oh my God. So you have to make it their idea if you want somebody to go along with something. You
Well,
want to do it for them.
I think there was a part of him that really was telling himself he was doing great things. He was just a good husband because he was letting me, because again, his behavior had nothing to do with me. So I was thinking about like, where did this all go wrong? And in my head, I kept going back to it never went wrong. This is how he always lived. Like reconciling that was probably one of the hardest things. So I'm upstairs one day with the girls and I went in the bedroom and I confronted him and I was like, okay, so clearly this hasn't stopped. This is continuing on and you need to take your shit and get out. And I don't care where you go, but you need to leave. And he started getting angry and I was getting afraid. And I was like, I already packed a bag. It's in the garage. Go. Like leave. You're leaving now or I'm calling the police because you're scary and you've broken shit. And now I'm done with it. He walks downstairs and as he's leaving, I heard what sounded like a freight train coming through the house. He ripped the door, the steel door that goes to the garage from the house. He ripped it off the hinges.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God.
You
He
know the
is
strength
a
it takes.
strong boy.
Incredible hawk. So when that
Oh
happens,
my God.
I don't know what he did. So I come flying down the steps. And I've got the girls who fly down the steps. And I grab them and he's screaming, like, you need to take your shit and get the fuck out. Like, you should have packed your bag. I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. And the minute he said, "This is my home," I realized, like, well, yeah, it's our home, but it is just his name, right?
Oh,
So
no.
I called the bank and I was like, I used to own my own home. I used to have a job and now I'm working part time and I have my stuff, but like I haven't had anything in my name in 7 or 8 years. I need to
Yeah.
rebuild my credit. Like, what do I do? They were great. Like the
Oh,
woman
good.
was like, go buy a car for like $6,000, get a loan in your name. We set up a separate account. Like this lady from the bank, I hardly had to say anything. I was like, I need to get things in my name. I need to get my ducks in a row. Cause again, we're in COVID. They know people are going through shit.
Yeah.
So I start kind of establishing myself financially and tucking away things. So, I did like get I earned a master's and I just kept going and building my credit. And then one day he has this complete come to Jesus. He is ready to change his life. He is going to admit all the things. He is going to go to the counselor and say, like, I know that I've been doing this wrong. The counselor had brought up the word abuse to me at this point. She had, this is actually abusive. This is abusive behavior. And I'd be like, whatever. He's crazy. I'm not being abused. That's how I saw it.
Accepting that you're being abused almost feels like you're accepting that you're a victim. And it certainly sounds like that's not something you ever wanted to be, nor does anybody want to be. It's like very uncomfortable to be told, like, you're a survivor, you're being
Yes.
abused.
Yes. And I
I
think there
get
was a
that.
part of me that was like, he truly was a victim. Like, I kept going back to his childhood. And when I tell you, he truly was a victim. So, like, yes, he did all this stuff. But I mean, frankly, I don't know how he got through some of what he did. So it wasn't that I
Mm.
felt sorry for him. It was just the fact was, you know what I mean? So I dealt with therapists and I dealt with pastors, and he had this whole like, okay, I'm changing. And one of our daughters was very into animals at the time. They became kind of like emotional support for her. And we had discussed maybe moving to some property, getting a farm, whatever. And so he says, let's do it. I am a changed man. Let's buy the farm. That was the dumb move I made. But anyway, so
Oh,
we're now nearing the,
no.
we're nearing the end of COVID. I believe he is a changed person. We put an offer on a farm. It's great. I mean, before we moved, we were packing stuff up and like he got my wedding gown out and he was like, try this on. And I try it on and he sent a picture to my mom and was like, look at how beautiful she is. He was a new man. New leaf turned over.
Oh.
We moved to the house. About 3 weeks later, it ramps up like a bat out of hell.
No,
He
what
was
happened?
mad.
Oh god.
He was angry. He didn't care when he came and went. He wasn't gonna answer to me. Like, it was suddenly like, "Oh, shit." It never changed. It
Ugh.
never right? And I was like, "What's going on?" And he kind of smirked and was like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you can't handle this on your own.
Oh my
What are you gonna do?
god.
Take this from the kids?"
Did he know that you were starting to make moves to be more financially independent?
He did not really,
Okay.
no.
I wonder
I
if
didn't
he, like,
really.
had an inkling or something, because it sounds like maybe he was like, "Let me be what she needs me to be so I can trap her again."
Well, he did wanna trap
Yeah.
me again. I mean, honestly, his whole thing was now he's got me in a bigger mortgage with more responsibility, with a bigger home to take care of, where guess what? I don't have neighbors right there,
Oh, yeah.
and
The
Okay.
I've taken our
isolation.
daughters their dream. What am I gonna do? Take it away
Oh,
from them?
Oh
no.
my god.
So, it was very much like he was super callous, like, "What are you gonna do about it? There's nothing you can
Yeah.
do about it unless you want to ruin this dream for the kids. They've already now survived COVID. They don't have family right here. You've gotten them this life, and now you're gonna rip it away? I can't believe you're gonna do that to them."
Oh my god.
Wow.
So, I find one of the agreements when he was like, "Come to Jesus" moment was he would allow me to somewhat have financial control over the household budget. We agreed to that. So when we were getting the mortgage for this new home, he agreed that there would be an account. He like signed
Mhm.
something. Like the counselor was like, let's make an agreement that there would be an account that the household expenses came from, went into, he had no access to, and a certain
Mhm.
percentage of his paycheck would always go into that. And that gave me comfort and going, like, even if he goes off the rails, I can handle this. And
Right.
that was something not even up for debate. Like he was like, yes, I'll totally do this. We were in our house for probably 3.5 months and I was cooking and all of a sudden he came in and he sat down at the counter and he was like, yeah, so that account, like he starts asking me questions about it. And I was like, I don't know, like it's used for this. We don't have cards. And he was like, well, I just, how much is in there? And I'm like, you can look at how much you put in. I wasn't thinking anything of it. And I was like, I don't know what you're asking. That's not, you don't have access to that. That was the agreement. And he just said, well, that's not working for me anymore. And I was like, no, no, I'm sorry, but you're not touching it. And he crossed his hands, like calm as could be with his little smirk. And he's like, well, that's not working for me anymore. And I don't feel safe if you're going to control me financially and not let me to have access to my money. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't care if you don't feel safe. And he's like,
That's weaponizing the therapy
oh,
speak for
100%.
sure.
So he calmly says, if you do not give me access to that account now, I'm going to walk in the other room and tell the girls we're getting divorced. And I said, well, go do what you got to do.
Good for you.
And he walked in the other room and he sat them down and he said, I'm going to divorce your mom because she doesn't treat me like a grown up.
How did that feel for you?
Well, I walked in the room and I sat down. My girls and I had a very strong bond. And my one daughter was like, you're mean. Like, you're mean. And no wonder mom doesn't treat you like a grown up. You act mean. Like, she was like, I was very proud of her.
Oh my gosh.
And so he says he's going to leave. And where is he going to go? He doesn't know. And he looks her dead in the eyes and he said, and I'm taking the dog. Well, what did she use for emotional support?
The dog. So that's cruel. That's cruelty.
Yeah. And that was really what did it for me of when I was like, this person would never be my friend. Why would they be my husband? Who does that to someone? So I said he had an ultimatum. He had to go check himself into an inpatient facility for a month. And I would consider any kind of conversation. Because at this point, I'm like, he's gone off the deep end. He's gone off the deep end. And you don't really want to divorce someone that's in the crazy state, right? Because you got to get them a little more calm. Because when they're off the rails, nothing good's going to happen. People don't get better when they divorce, they get worse. I don't want
That's
worse.
when they're like, let me take the dog. They're like either vindictive or unpredictable. I totally get it, especially given that he's the financial provider at this point.
And I can play him a little now. Like you're right. Because I've had a couple years of practice of this with him. And so I'm like, look, I'm going to give you a month to go get your shit together. I called an inpatient facility. They had an opening right away. I bought him a plane ticket, sent him a plane the next day for a month there. He is, of course, acting there like he wants to change, but the same thing, like the therapists are kind of seeing the same behavior because we would have like family meetings where I would have to get on. And he comes back, he's like angry. Like he came back and it was no different. It was no different. And I tell him one day, like, do you understand what this is doing to the kids? Do you understand what you're doing to your children? Like
he doesn't care.
This is what he said. And I will never. He said they are collateral damage.
Oh my God. He's never again would he see them again. If that's what you think of them, fuck you.
They'll be fine. And if you would just shut up, everything would be fine. But now you've created this mess where, yeah, I guess they are getting hurt. What are you going to do? Split them up now? Make them go back and forth? When he said that, I was like, he's a sociopath. Like, what in the world is happening?
Yeah.
So I call the mental health facility because I had power of attorney, whatever it is, over his records. And I asked them to release his records to me. And they're like, which ones? And I go, everything. I want to read everything. And there's this note that a therapist wrote and said, yes, he has had childhood trauma. Yes, it was extreme, but instead of using all of the help and resources that have been offered to him, he continues to use it as an excuse to gaslight, manipulate, and abuse his wife and family.
Yes.
There it is. Sums it
up.
When
I read that, I was like, here we go. Okay. So he alternates between this like eerie calm and this explosive rage. We're still in the home at the same time together because I need a plan now. Like I need what do we do next?
Yeah.
And I had some things gathered, but he would be super calm to where your hair is like standing up on your arms because you don't know what's going to happen to throwing a coffee mug across the room if you said something he didn't like.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And never hit me. But one day I look at him and I'm like, I swear, it's like you just act like everyone would be better off if I were dead. And he goes, well, we would be.
See, that's
my God.
I mean, saying something like
why
that.
is he saying that?
He didn't care about anyone but himself.
Well, I think I'm glad you mentioned like he didn't hit me because we talk about this a lot where we have a very clear picture of what abuse looks like, physical abuse specifically, and abuse takes so many different forms. It can be death by 1,000 cuts. Last episode, we talked about that. It can be repeatedly saying something like that. Like, that is such emotional abuse to say that to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it was really bad, and he was not okay. Like, I was waiting for him to snap. So I took the girls and I went in one of their bedrooms and we closed the door and I was ready to talk to them. And I was like, we have to do something. I'm going to take you. He had family that lived in the state and that family knew what was going on. And I was like, I'm going to drive you to their house now. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, mom's going to take you there. Mom's going to figure out what happens next. But like, dad is not safe. Dad is not okay. I'm sorry. But like, we have to do this. And they were like, okay, like they understood. And so I am in there calmly talking with them and I hear this little knock on the door. This is the part that still to this day makes my stomach turn. So I hear this like knock on the door and it was very, faint. And I was like, oh, we'll be out in a couple minutes. We're just talking. And he's like, well, I'm going to come in.
No, you're
And I
not.
said,
No,
and
no.
I said, no, we're just having a conversation. Like we'll be out soon. And he said, you're not going to talk to my kids without me.
The
So
fuck I'm
calm,
not.
My
Oh
kids?
boy.
so calm. And he
And
opened up the door and he walked in. And when he walked in, my one daughter went toward her closet, like to go into her closet. And my other daughter kind of like went to go under the bed.
Oh.
Like I grew up like that. And so I knew it wasn't the first time they'd done that.
Oh
And I
my
never like
God.
knew.
oh, I'm so
Oh.
sorry.
So he walked in the room and it was this moment where God was like, if you get out of this, you can never let them get in this again. Like I knew at that moment he was capable of anything. And if we made it out, I could never be in that position again. So I like grabbed one and kind of like slowly inched her toward the door. He had come and sat on the edge of the bed at that point. He was still super calm. And so I was waiting for him to blow. I got the other one and I'm kind of moving her toward the door and he breaks out crying,
Oh, bless.
wailing, tears, shaking. I'm like, he is totally unstable. He's totally unstable. I get them downstairs. I get them in the car. I drive them to family's house. I drop them off. And family's like, why don't you stay here too? Because, right? But I knew all of my evidence I had been collecting, he would go burn.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
years of print,
no.
right? And so I have to go back home because this is it. That's my out.
Yeah.
So I went back home. And when I went back home, he was actually asleep. And we had slept in different floors. I mean, we're even, and he took sleeping pills to sleep. And so I knew he was out cold. And I like locked that area where he was in. Like I put a chair against the door. Like I did whatever I could.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't go to sleep, but I spent that night gathering everything. I got the fire safe out. I put papers in it. I put birth certificates, all of the kids' stuff, everything I needed, I put in there. And I filed a protective order. And I kept thinking, but he's never hit me.
Yep. He's never hit me. He's never
never hit
abused me.
And there's even a question on there that says, has he ever been violent toward you? And ready, here's how blind we can be. I actually wrote no because
Wow.
he might have thrown a door, but it didn't hit me.
Yeah.
Like that's how in it you get.
Yes.
I was like, because I'm thinking, but other women have been beat to a pulp by their, no, he hasn't been violent toward me.
Yep.
So I wrote one page and I said, he is not mentally well. He is dealing with these things. I have evidence from a therapist saying he is going to continue this behavior. I was asking him to please leave the room, please give us peace. He would not leave the room. And I was like, I just want peace for my daughters and I. He is terrorizing us. Like, I don't know what to do, but I need help. And this was right around Christmas. So courts were closed for a couple days because it was a weekend and a holiday. And when they reopened on that Monday, I get a call from them and they were like, does he own the home with you? And I said, yeah. And the lady goes, well, then I just want to let you know, it's not real common to make someone that owns a home leave. So if he does get removed, it might be for like 6 weeks. So you need a plan. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to let you know. And I'm like, okay. About 2 hours later, I get a text because the court can text you updates. And I open the account and it says they granted the protective order for 12 months. No hearing.
Wow.
That's good.
I had filed it as an like an ex parte
Oh.
order based upon his mental instability. I said that he'd been in an inpatient facility, that we'd been in therapists, we'd been in counselors, like he's ready to blow and I don't know what he's going to do. So when that happened, I knew it was bad. I was like, holy
Yes.
crap, they know it's bad. The court knows it's bad. And they just made this man leave his home for a year. Like, that's not
So you
normal.
feel like you needed that kind of validation in order to even validate your own feelings. It's
Yeah.
so real.
So he files a motion to have the protective order removed. And of course, then I'm sick to my stomach. I'm like,
Yeah.
right. And so I log on because everything's still virtual. So like COVID is ending, right? COVID's over, but everything still hadn't opened all the way.
Right.
So judge logs on, I'm on. We're waiting for him, waiting for him, waiting for him. 15 minutes goes by and he doesn't show up. So they go on record and the guy's like, well, clearly he's not real serious about dropping this. So it's in place. So we go off the record. And as we go off the record, the man's like, I just want to tell you, I have a background in mental health before I had a background in the law. He's like, I read your protective order 3 times and you're doing the right thing. You need to protect you and
Oh,
your
that
kids.
validation.
There was more validation
Yeah.
from an unbiased source that sees it all. I think that's it. The
Wow.
courts see it all. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was terrified to file for divorce. It took me probably 6 months because I just was like, I need him as calm. I need to be able to control the dialogue as much as possible.
Were you living at the house still? Where was he? Where were you?
I was living at the house and the girls were with me. So I filed for divorce. He makes me terrified. He's like, I will hire a nanny to raise the girls before you do. Like,
Ew.
Well, that's how you know he's out of his right mind, because what is obviously best for the children?
again, they're collateral damage, right?
Crazy.
Right? This is what it kept ringing in my head like over and over. So I knew I'd put nothing past him. They're collateral damage. He's got nothing to lose. Like, he'll do anything he can to take me out. And so he had agreed in writing to give me a certain amount of years to buy him out of the house. And of course, we go before the judge, virtual, and he changes that right then. He decides it's only 6 months. And if I want any more than that, he's going to go for weekends with the kids.
Oh my God.
My attorney was like, it is wise to show that you are not trying to isolate them. And she was like, if we offer a weekend, and I'm like, I can't offer a weekend. They cannot be there from Friday to Sunday. They will not be okay. Like, you don't understand. And she goes, we really should offer like 2 overnights. I said, offer 2 overnights, not consecutive, that I have to approve. And he signed it.
Oh my gosh.
He never asked for a single one.
Are you serious? They really
all
were
about
just collateral.
control. It was all about control. He wanted me terrified. He wanted me to believe I was going to lose the house. I mean, he would send me text messages and be like, you need to be realistic about this. You're never going to keep that.
Wow.
How were the girls? Like, what is their take on that?
So like, I took this approach the minute he got removed from the home of like, this is not our shame. And I don't have to do this alone. And so I called the school where the girls were attending and I talked to their teachers and I was like, I need to let you know what's going on in our house. And I need you to let me know if my kids are not okay. Like, I always believed in putting adults in their lives. I never
think
made
that's
them feel like they
great.
had to keep it secret. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
this is not your shame. This is not yours. He has a problem. He brought it in our home. He is not in our home anymore. We will not carry the shame. We will not live in a secret. I just had to face it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I was going to feel ashamed. So I told the teachers and I didn't give them all the drama, but I just said like their dad's been removed from the home. I want you to know in case they seem not okay. If you feel like they need a counselor, if you feel like it's okay, tell me whatever my children need. This was a new neighborhood, like a new area,
Yeah,
right?
and
So,
you see them every day, so help me help my kids.
right.
That's
And
so
I
smart.
told a woman that lived like the next street over, I had befriended her and I was like, your kids are going to come over to my house and play. I need to tell you, there's no dad here. We live in a place where everybody's like married, picket fence. I was like, I'm the single mom. And this is what we're going through. And she was amazing. So
Chosen family.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So about a month later, I got an email from one of the girls' kids that said how much of a difference they saw in her. She's taking risks. She's being brave.
They're not afraid
Yay.
anymore.
And I mean, they were never a problem in school. Like, it's not like but they held back because they were afraid.
Oh man.
And when that was gone, they
they
were
could let their
living.
light shine.
And when I
Wow,
got that
wow.
email again,
Oh, I
another
just got full body
confirmation.
chills. Oh my gosh.
It was like another confirmation. You know what I mean? Of this is what we need to do. And like, I hated it was what we needed to do. So after a while, the divorce happens, and my girls would want to talk about it a lot, and I would always reframe the story like, this is not your fault, his behavior is about him. I would say, like, I'm pretty awesome. I don't know why he did this to me. He did it to me, he did it to you, it has nothing to do with us, right? I kept it very like, this is not, when people choose something, it's always about them, it's not about you.
Yes. Yes.
We were not going to be victims.
You're sounds like you're raising strong women.
I'm
I think that's
trying.
incredible.
Thank you.
What advice would you give your daughters?
About protecting yourself from dogfish like this.
Get your education, because no one can take that from you.
Mm-hmm.
Have some sort of group, whether you're like volunteering or like, and I wasn't like big on college, right? I just know that that saved my life. So like, get your educate, get something that, like, if you're not going to have a job, have something else that's an endorsement. And so that's a degree.
Yes.
And then the next part is have a network of some kind. Volunteer somewhere, serve somewhere. So that way, if you need a job at some point, you can start telling people, hey, I need work. This is going on. I need work.
Yeah.
And if you have a network and you can do that, I mean, everything you touch is experience. So if you're a mom and you're like running a show at church, guess what? Put it on a resume. You can still build a resume. You can do something once a month for 3 hours and it counts.
Yes.
Like, put it all down and get some people in your corner, like, and they can be in your family's corner, that if you need to go to them and say, I need you to make some phone calls because I need a job tomorrow. That is the thing. Be a mom, stay home.
But keep the
love your family.
connections.
Keep the, don't isolate. Yeah. Keep the connections of who you are and what your gifts are, and get something that people can't take, which to me is a degree. Like,
And that is,
they can do, yeah.
I think that's why abusers like to isolate their
Yeah.
victims, because they don't want them to have those connections. And
Correct.
so that's why it's important. Even if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, at least you have a place to go if you do need to seek work. It's, you have
Right.
someone there. And so it's that isolate, and you don't realize you're being isolated most of the time.
Oh no. Mm-mm. Do you think that you're being given freedom to just love your children?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the advice that you would give to your daughters is the same. Like, you could be a stay-at-home mom, just keep your connections, maintain your education.
100%. You should always have credit in your name. That was one thing. Like, I had such a good foundation, then I gave that up and I had to rebuild it because I didn't have anything in my name. So even if it's a cell phone, like, keep something in your name that says you're a person with a social security number and you have a bank.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a red flag. He didn't push me to give up everything. I did willingly because I trusted him.
Yep.
But like, if someone's kind of pushing you, let me just handle all this. No, because someone should want you to be your own person too.
Yes, absolutely. That's really
And
good
that's becoming
advice.
more.
So, I mean, he's made his whole life with his new family now.
I was gonna say, where is he now?
Yeah. So
So- Yeah.
oh boy.
I mean, he literally, like, this is how his children found out where he was. Like, literally, they just saw him one day and there were car seats in his car. And he was like, oh, yeah,
What?
so moved in with her kids. No shit.
Oh, not his kids, but so had kids and he moved them in.
They didn't even know he was dating someone. They didn't know he was dating someone. And that's how he revealed, hey, I'm dating someone. And her kids moved in. So that was really hard for the girls, because part of why they were okay was like, well, he's not doing anything with anyone. He's just lives the shit life.
Yeah, now it feels like we've been replaced.
Well, yeah, because you don't have time with, right. So like, that sucked.
Oh,
But
shitty.
again, it was sort of like, what do you expect? Why would we expect something better from someone bad?
Yeah.
Once you shift expectations of certain people, a lot of healing can
A
come.
lot of healing.
I think that's
And like,
a big
once
thing.
you see who they are, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. You
You
can't. There's
he
no
was
coming
this way
back from
before
that.
me. Like, I still, in my head, I'm like, why? Like, what in the world? Who does that? Right? Anyway. So you guys have this like catfish, dogfish term. And so when I would listen to your show, I would tell my friend, like, he's the jellyfish because
Tell us.
he's like slimy,
Oh, I love it.
seems totally transparent because there's not much substance to him. Because he just,
Whoa. Yes.
but then there's like this sting.
There's a stingy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I have coined him as I think of.
He's a jellyfish.
Yeah.
So real. The way that you fell in love too is so interesting and sad, because it's nice to be able to come away from these stories and say, oh, we learned that we should take our time. We learned that we should maybe check in with our communities around them. And there are
We did.
stories where there's really, it's not like there's
There were no
anything
flags.
anybody can do. And I
There
hope
were no
people
flags.
don't blame themselves at any of these episodes, because even if there are flags, the problem is that the jellyfish or the dogfish or the catfish is
doing the behavior. That's the problem. We are not the problem.
Now
And I
you
love how you've
seem,
put it.
Sydney, you seem like you've had it, like you kind of kept yourself together because you had to the whole time. Was there ever a time when you just like kind of lost it and broke down, or were you just like
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
steadfast?
Like the day when I walked the girls down to the neighbor's house and I laid on the kitchen floor, that day I broke down. There were definitely, oh, yeah, there were days that I threw up. I lost a ton of weight. But you know what I did? I kept working. And I remember at one point my boss was like, because no one ever knew about this. And then I said, I'm going to miss work today because I have to go to the courthouse. Right? Like that's how I told him. I have to pick up a protective order. And he was wonderful. And he said, what do you need? And I said, I need you to treat me like a professional because
Wow.
here, that's what I can be.
Yep.
Don't ask
Wow.
me, how are you in this pathetic way? Ask me how I am. Like, please let me be strong here because I have to have somewhere I'm strong because I have someone outside of here telling me I'm not. And
Yes.
so like and that I will say, like, if I could, you are not just that. Like that is something in your life, but it will be gone. And the rest of your things are going to be what holds you together because sometimes I hear these stories and I'm like, this man like totally sucked in there. No, don't give him any more space than he has to occupy because you're not just that. And that was my sanity. Like I did love him to my core. I did want to have a life with him. But when I knew no matter what I did, I couldn't, I decided what can be in my life. I can control my career. I can control my education. I can care for my children. I can control my health. This thing is a thing that's going to go away. Life was there before him and like good riddance.
Thank you for
He
my
blew it.
babies. Goodbye.
Pretty much.
You lost your privilege.
That was your purpose in my life, was to give
That's
me
exactly.
these beautiful children. And well, goodbye. Thank you.
Sayonara.
Thank you so for
I have-
this beautiful gift. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You're amazing. I loved hearing
thanks.
your story.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
That was incredible.
And-
This guy.
And thank your friend for connecting you to us because I hope some of these episodes have made you feel like, oh, yeah.
Yes. She's
I'm
like, you
connected
have to
to
go
them.
on this show. And I was like, that is not, I don't do that. And she's like, no, you have to. Right. She's like, so I started listening. And then I heard a couple stories that I was like, oh, that really resonates. And so I was talking to my best friend. She was like, you will save someone's life. Like you have to go tell this. It's a different story.
We talk about that is the sense of community because you never know when what happened to you will save someone else. It's incredible the experiences that people have shared after hearing different guests. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you guys for doing this. I think it's very easy to become small when you're going through something like this.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
did become small and I'm just at a place in my life where I'm not going to be small anymore and I'm going to take up the space that I deserve. And so I was like, this is not airing dirty laundry.
No.
This is helping someone. So I feel like when you come out on the other side, like don't be worn out. You have arrived. You have survived. Like go. You know, that's how I feel. I'm like, seriously, bring it. Because
You have survived. You have arrived.
yes. Yes.
That was highly educational.
I'm obsessed with her and I'm like so
Dude,
proud of her.
She's a baddie. Like she held it together. And I think it's that, first of all, I think that's part of it. Mama strength.
Like the strongest. And one thing I kind of said, but I'm thinking about it, just if someone's listening to this story in the middle of leaving an abuser and you're worried about how it's affecting your family and your kids, I just like hearing the way that her kids thrived after this horrible decision she had to make.
I had full body chills.
Full body chills. And it's just like, there is another side to it. And it could be the right thing. And as hard as it is in the middle of it, the hard thing was the right thing. And that is so powerful for anybody that maybe is in the middle, isn't quite there yet, you know?
She is just, I think she is so rad. And I loved the advice that she was giving about how you can still do the stay-at-home mom thing and raise your babies or do whatever you want to do and not allow yourself to be stuck there, which I thought was really empowering.
And let's definitely talk about that because even we weren't really recording, but we were talking about stay-at-home mom versus domestic engineer versus, you know, there's all these ways to think of that title because it is a full-time job, like you're working. And I think it's the right choice for so many people. How do we do that while still protecting ourselves? Because like she said, you should trust your partner, but it doesn't have to be about trust. You don't have to be like, oh, I just in case I end up on the dating detective someday, that's why I'm going to have my secret fund in case I need to leave. It
Yeah.
could also just be you don't know what's going to happen. Your partner could lose their job all of a sudden. Somebody could get sick or die. Like, knock on wood, I know, but it's just like we always have to have a plan. We always have to have a plan just in case, especially as parents.
Yes, especially as parents, because your babies are going to need your babies. Just imagine your kids need you fully, and you need to be able to take care of them. And also, in order to do that, you have to maintain connections. And to maintain those connections, you can't be isolated. So if you feel isolated to the point you're losing connections, that can be dangerous. So do your best to keep those connections so that if you do need to get a job or you need some help, you have those connections there.
Listing just the specific advice she talked about for somebody who maybe isn't going to work in their relationship, like get your education because no one can take that away from you, networking and have people in your corner. I wrote down just keep your resume updated,
Yeah.
which people forget to do, but it's
So it's
not a
ready to
bad thing to
go.
do.
Yeah.
Having a life outside of whatever it is that you do most of the time, a hobby, volunteering, something to build skills or contribute in that way. Keep your name on things, have your credit. I mean, that's huge. Even if it's just the phone and your name, just keep that going. Also, I mean, like, don't maybe put the house in only one of your name. Like,
Yeah, my husband actually we got a VA loan for the house and he just did his name alone. And so his name is on the mortgage, but then he made sure, well, we both made sure my name was on the official document for the house.
oh
So
yeah,
I'm on the house, but because it was the VA and he's the vet, it went through them and he whatever. So his name is on the mortgage, my name is on the house. So I am an owner in this house.
hell yeah. And I mean, how wonderful that he was like obviously a good partner and wanted to do that with you. Like,
And
as
I
soon as
wouldn't have it
somebody
any other way, like, and if he demanded, I'd be like, "No, you're why? Why?"
well, yeah, the why is I mean, it sounds like anytime he didn't do that going up leading up to it, but after all hell broke loose, he just wanted
Mhm.
control. But can we
Yeah.
talk about how he didn't do red flag stuff?
There was no red flags, he was such a good guy, there was nothing that concerned her, and if she hadn't found the with his passwords, she might have never known.
That's crazy to think about. And he could have continued living just being like this is separate. This is completely separate, not part of our marriage. What people really will tell themselves anything to justify their actions. And I know that's like a human trait, but you still know right from wrong if you're a good person. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
maybe he was a sociopath. I mean, he blamed, I mean, it comes up mental health, being on the autism spectrum, none of those things are directly correlated to this kind of behavior by any means. And I think it does a real disservice to people when they are used as an excuse for this behavior.
Mhm. Yes. But also just, the fact that he was never concerned or showed any concern about anything ever, and when she came to him with it, he was like, "I didn't do that," and then she's like, "Yeah, you did," and he's like, "No, I didn't," she's like, "Yeah, you did. Here's the proof," and he goes, "Oh,
Oh,
well, if you didn't ask, so I didn't tell you." Like, what?
it's so crazy. But I feel for her the feeling of, oh, he's so level and that's something I'm attracted to because it's stable.
Yeah.
But that was confused with some severe apathy.
Mhm. Yes, it
And that's
was.
hard. Also, the fact that she said she felt like she was like his caretaker, like she felt I think his trauma, she had a lot of empathy for. And I want it to be so clear to people that just because somebody has trauma, you can have empathy for them and still recognize that their abuse is not justified.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not your fault. It is your
It
responsibility.
is your
We like to tell people.
responsibility. And also, regardless of childhood, past, and traumas and all of that stuff, regardless of that, it wouldn't have made it okay in any stretch of the imagination, but it does help people kind of understand where you're coming from, and so I thought that was interesting that the therapist was like, "Yeah, that's not part of why he does this.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they were able to validate that for her.
Yeah, and at the end, it sounds like she really did get the validation, but I'll be honest with you, she's a baddie, so I don't think she ever really needed a lot of
It's true.
validation.
It's true.
She
But
was like,
even
"I validate myself. Good for you." She really did too.
it's true. But I think that's why it's so good to hear her story, because she is the person who you're like, she's so strong. Like, she doesn't need anything from anyone, and she can still go through something like this. She is not the stereotype of somebody who's been abused.
Absolutely.
She said it best. I mean, she was like, I was doing really well on the paper when this was happening, and that's what abuse can look like.
Yep.
Ugh.
Absolutely. But I loved her attitude. I loved that she kept the cool for her daughters. I love that her daughters learned that from her. They learned that. I mean, kids are already resilient, but it's helpful when you see your mom not freaking out and you feel more comfortable not freaking out. That's kind of nice, right?
Totally.
So,
Well, sorry, you just reminded me of something
what's
that
that?
I was thinking about. It's a little thing, but I think it's a big behavioral thing. Like, he wasn't freaking out. So I think you said he's not freaking out, so why should I? And I was just thinking about
Yep.
how when you are acting freaked out, it just makes you look like the crazy one. And that's a way to kind of, they don't even have to say anything. Just by being calm, it gaslights you into thinking you're overreacting.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's such a good point. And there's, yes, that's a perfect description. Like, if he stays calm, then she's the
And
one.
you're
If
like-
she lashes out, she's the one that looks crazy.
And it's not always that way, but honestly, I'm thinking about the TV show, The Traitors. Like, this latest season, The Traitor was like real calm. And I think he made everybody else just be like, I guess everything's fine then. That was like his whole
Yes, so.
tactic. So interesting, something to think about. These stories always make me think about so much, which is why, I mean, follow us on social media, Dating Detectives Podcast, but we do get to have more ongoing conversations on Patreon with y'all. And I think, like, truly, I'm sometimes thinking about these stories months later and like, oh my
No,
God, this new
same.
revelation.
Yes.
So it's nice to have a group of people who I know are also thinking about them a lot.
I know, right?
Yeah. We
And
have
they're like,
$5
wait, we
a
want
month.
updates.
Yeah, for real. And we do share updates when our guests can share them with us. And we definitely share them on Patreon when we can. So that's $5 a month for extra episodes. We meet on Zoom for book clubs sometimes. We get to chat with everybody. You get early access to like merch and stuff. And then there's $9 a month with all of that, but
girlfriend
ad free.
experience.
No ads, baby.
We love our Patreoners. So we have so much fun over there. So, and the new Patreon that's coming out, the next one, it's a special kind of Patreon.
The episode. Oh, I thought you were talking about like a new tier of our Patreon that I was like,
no,
I don't know what you're talking about.
There is a new Patreon episode coming out that you guys have to hear. We have a guest
Yeah.
and it's a little controversial, and I enjoyed this conversation. I think you guys will too. So if you haven't joined Patreon, you probably will want to.
This is a good time. This is a really good time.
It was wild.
Well, we love you guys so much. Thank you for listening and sharing with your friends. That's how we met Sydnee. That's how we meet so many of you, because I think connecting with each other helps in these scenarios.
Absolutely.
Network with each other.
The sense of community, and we appreciate you guys so much. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here and sharing us and sharing with us, and we love you.
And as always, trust your intuition.